Hello race fans and welcome to round 4 of the MotorMotion ShawFire V8 Supercars series. ShawFire, our sponsor. They provide unique solutions to your signage and display needs. From business cards and stickers to factory signage and vehicle wraps, they can make you stand out. So make sure that you visit www.shawfire.com.au, the official and proud sponsors of the MotorMotion E-Series V8 Supercars. Tonight in the commentary box, you do have myself, Joel Austin. We are at round 4, Road Atlanta. We've got 55 laps around this amazing track. It's going to be 4 kilometers for each lap, and they've got 12 turns to navigate. Qualifying has been set. We run through the order here. We've got Foster in first, Scott second, Colin in third, and Patasso in fourth. In 5th place we have Peyton, 6th place Piers, Cartwright in 7th, and Taylor in 8th. Carter in 9th, 10th we've got Camilleri, 11th Taylor, and 12th Griffin. Rounding out the field we've got Addard in 13th, Harcourt in 14th, and as we can see we have a driver missing from the tail of the field. Make sure you share us on all of the socials with the hashtag Light It Up. Let's see your support for this amazing series put together by MotorMotion and our proud sponsors at ShawFire. As we jump over to the action now, we're getting ready to go underway. Here we are, race fans, with green flag racing now. We can see Spuds had an amazing launch, jumping up through the field there. Rolls taking it away into the very first corner of lap 1 of 55 in the ShawFire V8 Supercar series. We can see that Spud has made his way up into 2nd place from that fantastic start. Ando right on his tail there in 3rd place. Colin, new entry there for West End Motorsport. This is his 2nd race and he's up in 4th, doing fantastic. We've got Piercy in 5th place after an amazing drive last week and the highest finish that he's had so far for Stripe Racing. So we jump on board with Piercy now. As these drivers make their way up to corner 6, round 7, and now we're on the main back straight. Turns 8, 9, pretty much straight. You go flat out here through turn 10A and 10B. Coming up around the back stretch, you've got the pits far off to the right there. That's going to be very difficult later for the guys to get into that pit lane. See, Rolls has gone across the line on his outlap with a 1:21. We expect these drivers to be putting down some hard times as we finally go on the flyer lap. As we move down the field, we can see Peyton's there in 6th place. He had a podium finish last week, so he'll be looking to try and recreate that if he can. We've got Wayno in 7th, pushing right on the back of Kane. What an amazing job, keeping him very busy. Oh, and the commentator's curse, he's run wide. He might pick up a penalty there. He manages to get away with it by the looks of things. Must have been off the gas. Well done, Wayno, great recovery. But it has opened the door for Aussie. He's now right behind, ready to make a move. Oh, and he's done so. Aussie racing for WTCC. Currently in 7th place, making his way up the field. As we move down, we've got Ryoff there in 9th place for the Jack Daniels racing team. Followed very closely by Griffo and Super VT looking to make a move. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, this Mustang does manage to pull up a little bit better, so she gets that done with ease. Tightly in there between turns 10A and B. All these cars are very stacked close together. This is a very, very intense championship. All of the drivers, top tier caliber here in the Brock lobby. As we move down, we see GLR Scott is in 12th. We've got Sir Dids there in 13th, Strike Racing. He'll be looking to make his way up. He seems to be stuck behind a little bit of traffic here. It's a little bit of follow the leader here. It's a very narrow track. You've got to make sure that when you do go for that overtake, that it's going to be somewhere that you can get it done cleanly, and there's not a lot of opportunity on this track, I'll tell you that much. We see Rusty fielding out the tail of the field there. Mr. Harcourt doing a great job in that Mustang. As we jump back to our race leader, Rolls. Looks like he's put on a bit of a gap away from Ando, who's managed to overtake Spud for second place. He's on his best sector so far. We can see that he's set a 1:15.8. Will these guys be able to go faster than that in this race pace? What sort of strategies will they use? With 55 laps, you could do the 11 strategy. Every 11 come in for a pit. Very easy to do. He's just gone faster, ladies and gentlemen. Not by much. Can't go any faster than that. 0:01. Wow. It's going to be interesting to see. So we've mentioned that, you know, every 11 laps will get you to the end for a stint on a 4-stop. But if those drivers can push out that fuel, get a little bit more, probably not hitting these kind of speeds, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe that's the strategy Ando's on. As we can see, he's doing 16s. That might even be too fast to do a 14 stint. Now, if these drivers can make it to lap 14 before they pit, then they can manage to do this endurance race in 3 stops. Be very interesting to see. We can see Ando there, still got 3/4 of a tank. We're coming towards the end of lap 4. It'll be interesting to see what their strategy is. Spud on a similar sort of fuel usage. They're in 3rd place. Similar sort of times to Ando. Lap 2 wasn't quite as quick. But this is the first of the Mustangs that we've seen down the order. We've got Rolls in 1st, Ando 2nd, Spud sitting in there in 3rd. As we move down, we can see Colin and Pearsey having a great battle here, coming through that final corner and across the line. Does look like Colin is starting to make some ground off the back of Spud. And Pearsey saying, mate, I'm coming with you. You're not going anywhere. Couple of technical corners there. You go a little bit too late, too early. You're completely off the line. As we see Pearsey make a move for the inside corner, he thinks about it again and says, you know what, I'm quite comfortable here. I'm saving fuel. I'm doing quite well. I'm in 5th place. There's no need to rush it. Like we said, there's not a lot of overtaking opportunity here, and to get it done cleanly, you've got to be very smart. You see Pearsey just taking his time. As he goes again. Looks like he might pull out of this going around. Oh, he's done it. He's managed to get it done, and he's done a great move. Will Colin get the overlap on him? No, he doesn't. Pearsey's taken 4th place with some fantastic driving. Just had to make sure that he could get that done cleanly, and he has. Colin's given him some space, which is great. As we move down, we can see Kane coming across the line here in 6th place, making his way to the 1st corner for Ned Racing. We've got Wayno in 7th, Aussie in 8th, and Super VT looks to be the 2nd of the Mustangs in 9th place at this point in time. They've come out with a special livery just for this endurance event. You can see some different colours on the Mustang this week. Scotty for grid line in 10th place at the moment. With Rife very close to him behind, getting maximum use of that slipstream, trying to save as much fuel as he can. On lap 6 of 55. It's quite interesting. We're recreating the Gen 3 of the 2023 Repco Supercars Championship here at MotorMotion, thanks to our sponsors with ShawFire. It's quite a different story for us compared to the real life, where these guys, tuning is everything. That's what makes or breaks a car's lap time around these tracks each week. Some teams have actually hired engineers to make sure that their driver has the optimal tune each week. Now, when it comes to the actual Gen 3, it's going to be a lot less about the data that they receive and more about the driver themselves. So what we're talking about, it's going to be driver skill, essentially, more so than engineering data. Because these cars are going to be a lot more like the road car, a lot less aero, it's going to really come down to the individual driver's skill. Now that definitely does play a factor here in the MotorMotion series, but I tell you what, a good tune here with the right aero, right ride height and the wheels, everything makes a couple of seconds. And sometimes, especially in this league, a couple of seconds is win or lose. It's very, very tight here. As we come through turns 10A and 10B, we've got Dids just slowing up for the bit of lap traffic there. Not lap traffic, sorry. For the congested traffic between Griffo and Ralph. Looks quite comfortable. So we jump back to our race leader, Rolls. Let's see, has Ando managed to close up that gap, or is he driving away? We see he's just under half a tank of fuel. Those tyres look like they've got about a quarter wear on the fronts, maybe a little bit less on the rears. He's definitely pushing that car as we look at that timing board on the right hand side. 1:15 all the way through. He's been called Mr. Consistent before, but we'll call him that again. Mr. Consistent is getting it done here. Lap 8 of 55, Road Atlanta. So we move down into second place. Ando, who's not that far behind. And if we want to tell the same story, 1:16's all across. We can see he does have a little bit more fuel than Rolls. He is still just under the half a tank, but not quite as far down. So he's managed to save a bit more fuel. Be interesting to see in the next couple of laps what strategy these drivers decide to take, as Ando does his first 15 of the day so far. We can see Piercy's made his way onto the back of Spud, and he looks to make a move in turn 1. He's pulled out of it, knowing there's not a lot of room coming around that corner. These cars are pretty much on their limit all the way around this track. He's left a good amount of space there, and he's going to try and get it done somewhere else. He seems to have a little bit more pace, using that slipstream to his advantage as much as possible. Makes a move around the outside. Spud's close to door. Piercy's jumped in behind. He's going to get the slipstream all the way to the corner. Can he get the better corner exit? Here we go. This is where it counts. Will Piercy make this move? This back straight. This might be his only opportunity this lap. No, he's going to wait another turn, I think. As we see those brake discs glowing red coming into these turns here. Very hard braking zone. You don't want to miss it by much, otherwise you'll end up in the sand or potentially into one of your competitors. As we move down through the grid after watching this fantastic battle. Oh, Piercy's run a little bit wide. He's managed to keep it. Collins not far behind. This might be his opportunity to make up a bit of ground. As we see, he's down to a quarter of a tank of fuel. He's pushing this car as hard as he can to keep up with these guys. Remember, this is only his second race in the ShawFire V8 Supercar Series. Seems to be the only battle pack that we have on the grid at the moment. These guys are pushing each other quite hard, and we can see Kane Payton in the background trying to join this little battle pack here. He's not far behind, and he looks to be making a bit of ground. Now these guys are battling. The battle between 3, 4 and 5 is now opening to be a battle between 3, 4, 5, 6. Will he be able to catch up? It looks like he's starting to get into that slipstream, which might also open the door for Wayno, who's not far behind Kane. Will this field get all congested again? We'll just have to wait and see. As we mentioned earlier, folks, we did have a car missing from the grid. We've just been informed it was HC Lewis for CP Motorsport. Unfortunately, didn't make his Qantas flight to Georgia, which turned back in the air after only 2 hours departing from Sydney. What a shame. Unlucky, mate. Maybe next week you'll be able to make up some of those points. As we move down the field once again, we've got Wayno in 6th. Spuds dropped down to 7th, but he has saved a considerable amount of fuel and tyres. But not as much as Aussie there in 8th. He's only on a quarter of a tank. He's doing fantastic. Well done for WTCC Racing. He looks to be doing probably the 14 stint. As we can see, we're on lap 11 now. Super VT in 9th. GLR Scotty in 10th. Sir Dids in 11th. Ryoff in 12th. Griffo in 13th. And Rusty rounding out our grid in 14th place. As we jump back to our leader, Rolls making his way down. He's not pitting on lap 11. He's going further. We see the red light on as he starts lap 12. I don't believe he's going to make it all the way to lap 14, which is going to throw that through-stopper out the window for Rolls, unless he can do some amazing fuel saving through his next couple of stops. So we drop back to Ando. He's there on a quarter of a tank of fuel. He's definitely going all the way to lap 14. He says the less time in the pits, the better. And look at his tyres. He can do it. He's definitely made this work for him tonight. He's hardly put any wear on those tyres in comparison to Rolls. He's not really that far behind. He's quite consistent with his times. And he's going to try and do this with one less pit stop. Is that going to make up the difference? Will Rolls be able to stay in front if he can continue to push his car as fast as he can? What sort of laps is he going to come in on? If he comes in on the end of this one, he might be able to do a shorter lap later and pick up some of that gap. We'll just have to wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned with us and catch all the action here live on the MotorMotion YouTube page. As we see, Kane's made his way up to 3rd place. He looks to be going for that 14 lap as well with a fair bit of fuel on board, but he's been a lot more aggressive coming around here. Now, that can simply just be down to the overtakes that Kane's had to do to get through the field. We saw he was back there behind that battle pack, so something's happened that we've missed. Looks like he's managed to jump all 3 of them somehow. So we can actually look down the side, we see Pearsy's gone, so something's happened. We'll jump down through the field and see how far away they are as we see Rolls and Wayno entering the pits for the first time on lap 13. We've got Scotty making his way in as well now with 7% fuel. He saved a bit more. Ryoff's going around again. Sir Dids is into the pits now for Strike Team Racing. We've got Rusty going again. Colin manages to make his way up to the final turns. This is the pit entry here. So this was the battle pack we were talking about. Kane's managed to get past Colin and Piers. So something's happened. They must have come together. As we see, they're now much further down the order. No, I must have missed a pit. I've missed a pit, ladies and gentlemen. I am very sorry. These guys have got a full tank of fuel, so we'll see these guys surge up through the numbers as the rest of the guys take on fuel. There we go. So they've hit the pits. Kane stayed out. Let's see where this will put them into the field. Over the next 4 or 5 laps, everything will sort of trickle itself back around. So we'll see where these guys end up. I thought it was quite interesting that Kane managed to jump all those spots, but it's simply because these guys have already pitted. Very fresh tyres, they're cold and a full tank of fuel. These guys will want to be quite careful coming up to turn 10A and 10B. So we see Pearsy stick his nose up the inside, letting Colin know he's still there. They go around side by side together. Colin keeps the lead there. Great driving. Guys managed to go through there too wide. Well done. As we continue to go down the field now, we'll see where everyone is going to end up respectively. We'll see Spud's gone into the pits there with no fuel left. Did he run out or did he just run out as he went in? We'll find out. Wayno in 10th place. Monica, Super VT, she's there in 12th. She's got enough fuel to go around for another 11. Scotty, 13th, and Dids rounding out the order now in 14th place. As we jump back to our race leader, Ando, who's going in for his first set of fuel, the end of lap 14. He started 15, come across the line inside the pits here. He's done spectacularly well to make it that many laps. As we see Kane entering the pits as well with 5% remaining. So he's managed to save a bit more. We hear him pull up, the tyres are going on. And Aussie's also come in as well, going for that longer stint. These guys are the three doing that one stopper. As we see Ando make his way out of the pits. Let's see how much of a gap he gets to Rolls. No, Rolls has managed to keep the lead. As he just goes past the pit exit. And Ando's just coming out right now. So, Rolls pitting a little bit earlier, keeping that car speed a little bit higher. Has paid off so far, but will it pay off in the long run? We'll just have to wait and see. This is the first stop for all drivers. This field will now sort itself out into where they've come out. Remembering the guys playing the long run, coming to that last third stop is where they will jump out and then get ahead once these guys doing the four stopper jump into the pits for the final time. As we jump on board with Rolls for a lap around Road Atlanta. As we complete a full lap around Road Atlanta here on board with Rolls. Absolutely flying, mate. Well done. In first place on lap 17 of 55 in the MotorMotion ShawFire V8 Supercars series. As we jump down through the field, we've got Ando there in second, making his way past the pit exit. Coming up to turns 2, 3 and 4. Coming down through the S's. Getting set up hard on the brakes and turning in for turn 5. Powering his way up towards turn 6 and 7, which you want to take together as one giant corner, not two separate squares. So we see him come all the way around, hard on the throttle, and very well done. This is where you want to get on the gas as quick as you can, as we've got 1.2 kilometres through the heavy braking zone up there at turn 10A. Turns 8 and 9 are almost straight. No need to really stress about them too much as we see Ando flying. Got this car up to 290 kilometres I saw before we got onto the brakes. You see those brake discs absolutely glowing. Heavy brakes into those corners, hard on the gas as we come up past the pit entry. The last corner of the tracks, turns 11 and 12, making a way across that line, a 116 flat. Quite well considering he is managing to save enough fuel to do a 14 stint lap around here in this endurance series at Road Atlanta. We've got Colin, the second driver for West End Mechanical. Absolutely fantastic drive. These guys have managed to make that overlap work where they've pitted early. I had a mistake where I thought they'd gone off together, but they had pitted. We see Colin driving fantastic up there in third place. Pearsey hot on his heels, looking for another really good performance just like last week. Be good to see that team. We've got Strike Racing. See if they can make their way up the team's championship order. triple 11, working his way back into that slipstream. He doesn't want to let Colin get too far away. He knows the potential of this new driver. He's quite good. And he's learning from one of the fastest aliens that we've met in Rolls. So he's only going to get better and more consistent as this series goes on, as they come around to the final turns of lap 18. Pushing their cars to the absolute limit as we move down through the field to find another battle pack. Wayno coming across the line in 5th. We've got Peyton there in 6th place. Spud down into 7th, using all the road and a little bit extra, trying to keep this car as quick as he can around Road Atlanta. Super VT with her special livery for this endurance event, up there in 8th place. Quite a lively look for the car. Being quite consistent as well. We see the 17s and 16s. Aussie here in 9th place. Fantastic drive there for WTCC. As we come up to the end of this back straight now, to the heavy braking zone, as we see these brake discs come alive. They'll be red hot, flying through these corners, back onto the power, and around we go again. It's going to be quite hard for these drivers to maintain their composure for 55 laps straight. It's going to get hot, it's going to be hard, but these guys are the best of the best, and we know that they can do it. Moving down into 10th, seeing Scotty making his way across the line onto lap 20 now, approaching the first corner. We see a yellow flag. Something's happened ahead of him. As we stay on board with this shot to see what's happened. Oh no, unfortunately we've seen Wayno's come off as he makes his way back onto the track. Luckily, no one was involved in any incident there. It just looks like to be a bit of an off. He does have damage, so maybe there is another car. Damage has worn off, so he might have got that a bit early. This is going to affect his lap time massively, as we see he's 21 seconds down from his previous lap time. Unfortunate, Wayno. Keep it together, mate. You can keep going. We were just saying how difficult it's going to be to keep that composure for 55 laps. Be very hard. These small mistakes, they'll be eating away at you, but you need to just rub it off, stay consistent. There's a lot more laps to go and anything can happen here on Road Atlanta. MotorMotion ShawFire V8 Supercars Series. We move down now to 12th place, right off in there for the Jack Daniels Racing Team. Griffo close behind. And Rusty Nuts driving around there in last place at the moment. He looks to be possibly having a cleanish race. Looks like something's happened to him on lap 15, unfortunately. As we jump back once again to our race leader, Rolls, West End Mechanical, currently is the series leader in the Brock Lobby. We see those orange numbers on the side of that car for the 270. West End Mechanical coming across the line, starting lap 22. These guys have put in a lot of practice throughout the week, making sure that their tunes have been perfect. We've seen these guys have private sessions, open sessions, and these guys are pushing the cars to their absolute limits. The tyres are squealing, all the curves are being used. These guys couldn't push these cars any faster. There's absolutely nothing in it, which is why one tiny mistake here is going to completely unravel your race, because these guys are staying so consistent. One little mistake opens the door for their competitor, as we see Ando running a completely different strategy to Rolls, with still half a tank of fuel remaining, hardly anywhere in his tyres on lap 22 of 55. And he's managing to increase his lap time. So will we see him run shorter in some of these stints? Maybe he's going to change his strategy on the fly, or maybe he's going to stick to it and he's just found a bit of speed. We see those brake discs absolutely lighting up once again, looking spectacular here. Make sure that you give us a like and share us on Facebook with the hashtag Light It Up, so that we know you guys are supporting us. If you haven't seen our Facebook page, it's www.facebook.com/MotorMotion E-Series. Jump on today, give us a like and share us with your friends. As we see Pearsey in 4th place hitting the pits now on lap 23, so he's going to be doing a 4-stopper, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. Looks to be coming in every 11-ish laps. He's pushing that little lap extra to try and get a little bit of a different overlap on his competition. Now, he was battling Colin, so if we jump up into 3rd place and we look at Colin, we can see that that red light is on. So he will be pitting after this. It'll be interesting to see if Pearsey will come out right on his heels where he's been, or if Colin's managed to open a little bit more of a gap. As we jump down through the field, we've got Kane in 4th place. Similar fuel strategy to Ando. He's trying to go for those 14 lap intervals. Spud, 5th place. Doesn't quite have enough fuel to do the same strategy as Kane, so we'll see him in. Not as early, but definitely not the same time as some of these other drivers. Different strategies across the field today. We've got Aussie there. Quite a bit of fuel in 6th place, doing well. Scotty, he'll be in the next couple of laps. 7th place. Dids making his way around, unfortunately with a half-second penalty. You have to clear that. That's going to hurt. He's going to lose a little bit of time off the back of Scotty there. We'll jump down and we'll see how much this slows him down through the penalty burn zone. Oh, as we see the car rev, trying to keep as much speed as he can, pushing up to this very heavy braking zone. Makes his way cleanly through there. Will he come into the pits this lap, or is he going to go for one extra? He goes around once more as we see Colin now making his way into the pits. He's come out, he's coming out. Oh no, he has fueled, sorry, it's just a little bit of a technical glitch there with GT7, and he's crossed the penalty line. That's gonna hurt. As we see Pearsey's move of coming in a lap earlier hasn't quite paid off, as we see he's there behind Griffo and Ryoff, so he's been caught up in a bit of traffic. He hasn't been able to make that move work. He's not quite as close as he was before. But now with that penalty, he's probably going to catch up along with Griffo and Ryoff. This is going to be a very close battle, ladies and gentlemen, as we move up to Ryoff's perspective, right on the back of Colin. 3-second penalty is huge. We just saw how much half a second slowed down Dids. So we see Colin off to the left, burning that penalty, almost standing still as Griffo goes flying past. Pearsey passed as well, and a massive gap back to Colin. Now Pearsey just needs to keep a cool head, make his way past Griffo and Ryoff. He's got more fuel than these guys. They will be into the pits. He's just got to be patient, and he'll be moving himself up the field. For Strike Team Racing, what a great result as he looks to take the inside to turn 1. What a great move. Plenty of space. Very, very nice driving there, guys. Well done. There's not a lot of room to overtake here. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, trying to get a move done is like pulling teeth. You just don't know when it's going to hurt. As we see our race leader into the pits. Ando now taking that lead with his different fuel strategy. Coming out, overtaking some lap traffic as well. Scotty. We see Rolls taking a little bit of bang water and making his way out of pit lane. Is he going to come out ahead of Kane, Peyton? No, it looks like Kane's managed to go around as well. Maybe running longer is going to be the strategy. The 3-stopper. Can they keep their times and speed consistent as Kane makes his way into 2nd place, following a very similar strategy to Ando up there in 1st. We've got Rolls coming out with a full tank of fuel and cold tyres, followed very closely by Aussie. His tyres are definitely not cold. We've got about half wear on the fronts, quarter on the back, and a quarter of a tank of fuel. So he'll be able to do a couple more laps. He's going to want to keep as much pressure on the back of Rolls as he can. Try and use that slipstream to get out a little bit more distance on that tank of fuel. As we move down through the field, we've got Ryoff and Pearsey making the move once again, jumping up through the field. Pearsey's up into 5th now. He doesn't want to be left behind today. He's going to make sure that he does everything he can for Strike Team Racing to get a great result here at Road Atlanta in round 4 of the MotorMotion ShawFire V8 Supercar Series. As we jump on board with Ryoff for the remainder of this lap to see if he can manage to keep up with Pearsey. Coming down this back end of 1.2 kilometres straight before the heavy braking zone into turns 10A and B, making his way around those last few corners before we get to the line. As we see Pearsey starting to pull away even further as Pearsey makes his way across the line. And Pearsey's managed to pull a 117.8 versus a 119.6, so he's absolutely walking away. Colin now hard on the back of Ryoff. He wants to get past and get back into that battle with Pearsey. He doesn't want to let him walk away, but like we've said, trying to get around here and make an overtake work is extremely hard. As we see, it looks like Colin might have forgot to change his tyres. They are looking quite worn, ladies and gentlemen. That front left is about to go. Looks like there might have been a miscommunication down there in the race garage. They've given him the fuel, but they haven't given him the tyres. He's still going around. We'll stay on board with Colin, and we'll see what sort of a lap time he's managed to push out with these absolutely fatigued tyres. He's staying nicely on the back of Ryoff, using that slipstream. He needs all the advantage he can. Will he end up in the pits once again? He saved so much fuel. But I don't know how much more punishment those tyres can take, but he chooses to go around again. Ladies and gentlemen, he's absolutely driving this thing to its absolute limits. Once that front left goes, this car is going to be nigh on impossible to drive. As we see him run wide into turn 1, losing a lot of time to Ryoff there. This is going to be an interesting battle to follow, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to keep an eye if Colin goes in once again for some tyres. This might throw his pit strategy completely out the window. As we move down through the field, we see Griffo. He's going to come in on the end of this lap in 8th position. He also needs tyres, but he also needs fuel. So maybe that will be good for Colin. He won't lose too much as we see our race leader go in for his second pit of the race so far with no fuel remaining. Spud making the inside move on Griffo. Does he have enough speed? Absolutely he does. With fresh tyres and a full tank of fuel, he's got it done. Do we see a change in lead as Rolls has made his way back into first place now with this under overlap with the two different strategies. We can see that he's coming out in behind Rusty Nuts there. There's going to be some lap traffic coming through these S's which will slow him down, which might give Ando the opportunity to catch back up after his second stop. We see Kane now coming out of the pits. Pearsey's made his way past, so he's up into 3rd place. What an exciting battle here, ladies and gentlemen, to see the different strategies playing out. With a 4-stopper versus the 3-stopper, the cars are jumping up and down through the field like ping pong balls. It's very hard to keep track of who's where and who's done how many stops. We'll do our best to keep it with you. We've seen there's definitely 3 drivers at least doing that 4-stopper, and we know that they are Ando, Peyton, and I'm terribly sorry, it looks like I've forgotten who the 3rd one was. As we move down the field, we've got Spud in 4th place. Just picked up a half-second penalty for crossing some track lines. Peyton there in 4th now with a full tank of fuel, looking to do that 3-stop strategy. Will he be able to make his way back up and pass Pearsey? This is the two battles going on at the moment between Rolls and Ando, and Pearsey and Peyton with their different strategies. We can see Spud sort of running something in between now. He's got a 3/4 tank of fuel, where Kane's got a full tank of fuel and a fresh set of tyres. So by the end of this race, these three different strategies might all level out. We'll have to just stay on board with somebody and watch it to the end. Make sure you give us a like, share us with your friends, and make sure you tell your grandma. As we move down into 6th place, Super VT coming across the line, making her way into the first corner. She might be actually making a bit of ground off the back of Kane. Different strategy again. She's got less fuel once more, so she's under half a tank. Who will be victorious here at Road Atlanta? Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. As we move down into 7th place, Aussie making his way through the S's. Sir Dids up into 8th. Fantastic recovery drive. Cutting maybe a little bit too tight there, but he's got away with it. Well done. So we see Scotty in 9th, hot on his tail. Not quite in the slipstream yet. Collins dropped down to 10th. So he has had to jump in, ladies and gentlemen, and get those new tyres. He's put a little bit of extra fuel in just to make up for the mistake. But what an unfortunate error for the young driver. He was up in 3rd place, having a fantastic drive. But down in the garage, a bit of miscommunication. He's forgot to put the tyres on. They wanted him out as quickly as possible, looking too much at the competition behind him. And that was Pearsey, who has made himself quite comfortable there in 3rd place. As we cross over now and jump on board with Pearsey coming out through the S's and making his way up through to turn 6. So far throughout the series, Strike Team Racing has been struggling to get the results that they've been chasing. This lobby is just absolutely full of alien drivers, fastest people on the planet. Pearsey doing a fantastic job there for Strike Team Racing, currently in 3rd on lap 31 of 55. Not long to go now, folks. As we see Pearsey make his way across the line onto lap 32 now. He's done a 1:16.3, so he is giving that Camaro absolutely everything he can. He's pushing this car, using all the track and the tune available to his team, pushing everything that he can to the limit to make sure he gets a good result here. So far, so good, mate. Keep pushing. As we move down the field, we see Spud there back in 4th place. These different strategies have got me scratching my head to see which one's going to be the best. We've got Kane in 5th, not far behind, but with a lot more fuel. So we'll see an overlap there. We've got Super VT's made her way up into 6th place with only a quarter fuel remaining. She won't be able to hang on to that position for much longer, as we see Aussie not that far behind, but with 3/4 a tank of fuel. A couple more laps and he'll take that place in the pits. GLR Scotty in 8th place for Gridline Racing, followed closely by Sir Dids. Colin there in 10th. He's going to have to drive the wheels off this thing to make his way back, as we see that he's done a 15.8. So he's pushing. He wants to make up for his mistake at West End Motorsport. He's going to do everything he can right by his teammate, who's currently in the lead. As we move into 11th place, we've got Ryoff there for Jack Daniels Racing, coming through the S's, pushing this car as much as he can. We've got Griffo down there in 12th place. He's been running some 18s, so he's been quite consistent, trying to save a fair bit of fuel. We've got Rusty Nuts there in 13th place. And we jump back to our leader. In first, we've got Rolls, putting on a show for his fans, but it's not over yet. We're on lap 33 of 55, and it looks like Ando is not that far behind with a considerable amount of fuel remaining. So when we see him come in for his final stop, that'll be it, and Rolls will still need to have one more pit. So is the overlap going to work for Ando in the end, or is Rolls going to be able to keep that speed up? As we see that Ando has put together a 15.999. He's flying with his fuel saving strategy. He's managed to find time somewhere. Where it is, I don't know, but he's absolutely cruising around Road Atlanta today. As we move down to Pearsey in third, having a fantastic drive. He's definitely going to be into the pits at the end of this lap, lap 33. So it looks like he's definitely doing that 11 stint lap. He will be there for a 4-stopper, which means Spud behind with a fair bit more fuel might be able to jump him as he goes into the pits this round. We'll stay on board with Spud. Make sure we catch the action live as we see Pearsey making his way down that pit lane. He's ended with 4% fuel remaining. Spud making it around those final corners with Peyton not far behind. Spud now going across the line, passing Pearsey in the pits. See the car getting a little unsettled there on the exit of turn 1. Peyton's managed to pick up a little bit of ground on the back of him. We should see Aussie's gone around the outside. He hasn't pitted this lap as well, pushing Pearsey down to 6th, and Super VT in the pits with him. GLR Scotty's made it past, and so has Sir Dids. So we'll need to wait another couple of laps to see where Pearsey comes out at the end of all of this. So we see Peyton making a move. Gets up the inside of Spud. Backs out of it. There wasn't enough room to get it done. He wants to have another crack coming out of the exit of this one. Getting right underneath the bumper of that car. Trying to get as much slipstream as he can. Pushing his way up through turns 8 and 9. Making his way down that back straight. Will he poke his nose out, or will he get close enough, or is it going to be too close to the braking zone where he makes up that ground? Spud keeping it very clean and tidy through turns A and B, getting a good run, making his way out of there. As we see that gap open up once again, Kane's going to have to put on a little bit more work to close that gap as Spud's come across the line with an 18 flat and a bit of fuel. We've seen Kane come across with a 17.6, so he's slightly gained that lap, even after all of that. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, there's been... oh no! There's been a malfunction. Spud's engine has just blown. The rod's gone through. He was pushing that car as hard as we could see, trying to get a gap away from Kane. Unfortunately, it looks like that rod's gone up through the engine block and taken the car out of contention for the race. It's rolled off to the left side of the track, and now it's completely removed. They didn't have to call, he managed to get down the service road. So unfortunate for Spud. He's now out of the race, handing third place to Kane Peyton for Ned Racing. What a shame, mate. Hopefully they get that engine sorted for the next round at Deep Forest on the 21st of February. As we move down through the field, we've got Aussie in 4th place, GLR Scotty in 5th for Gridline Racing. Sir Dids there in 6th place, Colin in 7th, Pearsey in 8th, looking to make his way past a lot of these drivers as they pit with that full tank of fuel that he's got there for the Strike Racing team. We've got Ryoff there in 9th place for Jack Daniels. He's got half a tank of fuel. He'll go through a couple of cars as well. As we can see, he's just let Rolls pass. There's a lapped car in 9th place. These guys are flying. 9th place is lapped, ladies and gentlemen. That's amazing. So we move down Super VT there in 10th with a full tank of fuel. We see Ando right behind her. She's under blue flags at the moment as we come up to one of the most technical parts of the track. Very heavy braking zone. She leaves enough room to let Ando go past. Some very clean racing there. Very well done from Super VT. That's at Maxim Sport Racing. Great job, guys. Well done. We move down to Griffo there in 11th place. Coming across the line, we've got Rusty Nuts now rounding out our smaller field in 12th, as we've seen 2 drivers now, unfortunately, not able to complete the race. So we jump back up to our race leader, Rolls. He's going to be coming in probably at the end of this lap, I would say. That red light is on, the tyres are worn. This will be Ando's opportunity now to get back in front of Rolls. As he makes his way onto that back stretch of 1.2 kilometres long, giving the car everything it's got. You can see he's got the foot down, he's giving it the go-go juice. The full macaroni, as some would say, coming up to the very heavy braking zone. We'll see these brake discs absolutely light up for us, ladies and gentlemen. Glowing red as he comes through, making his way into the pits. We're going to stay on board as we see him make his way down pit lane and into the pits. Very tight, not much room for error. As we see the West End mechanical car now up on the jacks, getting a new set of kicks, and Ando has now taken the lead as we jump on board. Ando now in first place. He's still got a little over a quarter of a tank. He's only got one more stop to do, ladies and gentlemen, or is he going to go all the way? If he goes all the way, then he's definitely done his three-stopper. We see he's put on quite a gap now from Rolls. The strategy's paid off. It's worked out well. It's popped him out quite far in front. As we jump back to see Rolls coming out of the pits, making his way around the corners up to the S's. Kane Payton down in third. Wasn't able to get that overlap, but he's not far behind. One thing to mention though, we will see Rolls have to pit once more, unless he can make that fuel stretch out for the last stint. So we make our way down through the order now on lap 38 of 55. Aussie up in fourth, having a great drive for WTCC. Collins made his way back up to fifth with some fantastic driving. He's got himself back ahead of Pearsey, but Pearsey's got a lot more fuel, so we will see the overlap happen once again between these two, having a fantastic battle. Punching and swinging and giving it everything they've got. These guys are pushing each other to their limits. Will we see a mistake from either driver, or will they continue to put on an absolute spectacle for all of our race fans here? We've got Ryoff in seventh, followed very closely by our race leader Ando, who manages to get past under blue flags. Some really good driving from the rest of our team. It looks like Ando said he's going to fucking lap everyone tonight. He's doing amazing. What a drive. We go down through. We've got Super VT in eighth, not far behind the pack. Griffo in ninth. Scotty making his way through the field in 10th place. Sir Dids in 11th. And Rusty Nuts there in 12th place for Mash Spuds Racing. As we jump up to our leader, Ando, we just saw him going past some lap traffic there in 7th place of Ryoff. Who's next on the list of cars for Ando to overlap this race? Can he chase down Pearsey, or is Pearsey too fast? Stay tuned with us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll bring you all the action live here on the MotorMotion YouTube live page. See, Kane has managed to go past Rolls. Something's gone wrong for him. He's still got fuel, so it wasn't through the pits. He's not too far behind Kane, so he looks like he can make that gap up. Kane's tyres are getting pretty worn, but he's still got a quarter of a tank of fuel. We've seen some fantastic tyre saving from Ando. A little bit better around these corners. You can see that gap back down through to Kane is quite significant. He's having a fantastic drive. Absolutely pushing this car as fast as some of these guys doing the four-lappers. He's only going to stop 3 times. That's fantastic. He's managed to get a great tune. He's kept the car very clean and tidy. He's stayed out of trouble. I'll tell you what, he's doing very well. He's lapped 7th place, chasing 6th. As we move down that field, we can see that now he's no longer chasing Pearsey, but he's chasing Colin. Pearsey's made the move. Is he going to be able to keep it sticking coming up through turns 10A and B? He does. Colin tucks in behind. Smart move. He's going to try and save some fuel off the back of Pearsey. As we see, no, Collins coming into the pits. Oh no, he's got to cross the pit line. That's going to hurt him on the exit as we see Pearsey cross the line there. with a 1:16.9, still pushing this car as fast as he can. Collins in the pits with 1% fuel remaining. He's received that 3-second penalty for going across the line, which will be there on his exit. Unfortunate, that will probably be enough time for Griffo to get past him. So that'll put 6th place into a lapped position here in the MotorMotion ShawFire V8 Supercar Series. Peasy's going to have to hold on and drive as fast as he can to make sure that he doesn't end up on that lap list. So we move up through the field. Aussie in 4th. Only 2 corners away from Peasy. Kane Payton has lost that position back to Rolls. Rolls having a fantastic drive, pushing this car as fast as he can. We can see the tyre wear on Kane's car there has just started to come right down to this tricky end of the track. We'll probably see another 1 or 2 laps before he comes in for his final pit stop. And we move up, we can see Rolls there with half a tank of fuel. He's now ready to go to the end of the race. He's done his final pit stop on lap 39 or 38. Hard to tell there, but he's had a 4-stopper. We move up to our race leader. He will be in on the end of this lap, grabbing a couple of laps of fuel to get himself around for the final stint here at Road Atlanta. As we see him make himself into the pits, we'll stay on board and we'll see if Rolls manages to get the overlap to happen. He is a little bit further back. Some of that lap traffic unlapping itself. A bit more of a challenge for Ando to make it back. So we see he's putting in enough fuel to make sure he can do the remainder of the laps here. Oh, this is going to be close. You see Rolls and Kane there on that left-hand side. Coming around the final corners with the new fastest lap. This is going to be very close as Rolls and Ando almost come out side by side, but Rolls has managed to come out just in front of Ando. 2 very different pit strategies as we see Kane into the pits for the final time as well. Rolls now retakes the race lead with Ando hot on his tail in the last stint here at Road Atlanta in the ShawFire V8 Supercar Series. So we jump on board with Ando once again as we watch very closely to see how much ground he can make up on Rolls on lap 43 of 55. As we see Ando absolutely flying here at Road Atlanta. Doesn't look to be making ground on Rolls yet, but we've got plenty more laps to go as we jump down through the field. We've got Peasy there in 3rd place, having a fantastic drive for Strike Team Racing. We jump down to Kane Payton in 4th for Ned Racing, driving the wheels off this thing. He's done his final pit stop. He's going to be going all the way to the end as we see a full tank of fuel and a new set of shoes on that number 23 Ned Racing car. We've got Super VT making her way in 5th place. She will look to need to have one final pit stop before the end. GLR Scotty there for Gridline Racing, that lovely MotorMotion E-Series on the back wing in 6th place. Aussie, the WTCC driver number 2 in 7th place. Colin for West End Mechanical. He's made his way back up to 8th place. Hasn't managed to get himself back into the battle with Peasy yet. But anything could happen as we can see the teammate, Sir Dids, not far behind. Apologies about the camera angle there, ladies and gentlemen. Sir Dids, so he was battling with Peasy, now he's battling with the teammate. It's Sir Dids in 9th place. We move down to 10th, we see Ryoff there, making his way around the first corner. He's on lap 44 himself. where our race leaders are a little bit further ahead. A couple of cars are a bit lapped in this series so far. Griffo making his way around Rusty Nuts, who has had to pit for the final time. Griffo with enough fuel to get to the end. He's in 11th place. He's going to want to try and work quite hard to make his way back up to where Ryoff is there in 10th, as we see Rusty coming out of the pits in 12th. Quite interesting to see. We've actually also got Piercy in the pits for his final stop, and Kane has managed to go around the pits at the same time. But remember, we've just seen there's a bit of traffic coming out of the pits, so will that slow him down and give Piercy the opportunity to get back into it, as Super VT also goes around the outside. We've got Piercy exiting the pits now in 5th place. He's got enough fuel to get to the end. That will update as soon as he comes across the line. So we see Scotty. Oh, Scotty's managed to also make the move on Piercy while he was in the pits. So unfortunately that strategy hasn't quite worked out for him. He's got enough fuel to get to the end, absolutely, no questions asked. As we move up through the field, will Scotty have enough? Can he make a little under half a tank stretch out for the remaining 10 laps? I don't believe it's possible, but anything could happen. I think GLR Scotty's going to need to have one final pit, which will put Piercy back up to 5th. Super VT is going to be in the pits at the end of this, so that's another place back up to Piercy, which is going to get him back onto the back end of Kane Payton in 3rd place, who does have enough fuel. He's got enough to get around 10 laps, 3/4 of a tank. We've stretched that out with a bit of fuel saving. You can definitely make it. We've got Ando there in 2nd place, pushing this car as fast as he can. He wants to catch Rolls before the end of this. He wants another race win. If he can do back-to-back, that'll be absolutely fantastic for WTCC Racing. As we move up to Rolls, he's not going to make it, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to have to do that 4-stop. It'll probably come off the back of this lap or possibly the next one. Either way, he's going to lose that position out to Ando, who's going to make it all the way around. Will Kane be able to get around him as well, as we see Super VT pitting for the final time, moving down the field as the other cars go around her. Rolls has decided to push for that extra lap. He's trying to put as much of a gap between himself as Ando as he can to give himself a little bit of grace in that pit stop. But I don't think it's enough, as we see Ando making his way around that first corner now. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for him. Make sure that he stays very consistent. He doesn't want to lose any time at all. One mistake could give this race to Rolls, but at this point in time, he will be the actual race leader as soon as Rolls comes into the pits at the end of this lap. We chop down to Payton now. Doesn't seem to be too far behind as he makes his way through the S's. Oh, no, sorry, that's not the S's at all. Makes his way through turns 10A and B. Now he's come round 11 and 12 and across the line, making his way up to turn 1. He's not quite as close as I thought he was. There's a bit of a gap between Ando and Kane. As we move down to Scotty, now coming around turns 11 and 12. Gridline racing. He will need to pit one more time, I believe. Either that or he's going to have to fuel save so much that it's going to open the door for Piercy to get around him with ease. You see Piercy's in there in the competition in 5th. I believe that's where he finished last race, so he'd like to do one better as we see Rolls into the pits for the final time, and Ando's already past him. Ando now takes the race lead with Rolls in the pits, getting enough fuel to finish the race as Kane Payton makes his way up to turns 10A and B. Is he going to have enough time to catch Rolls while he's still in the pits? I don't think so. I think Rolls is going to manage to come out of the pits well ahead of Kane. So there is a massive gap between 1 and 2 and the rest of the field. Rolls now making his way out of the pits for the final time. He's likely to be in 2nd place by the end of this race unless he comes unstuck and falls down to Kane, or unless Ando has a huge incident and comes back down into contention to be a good battle with Rolls. At the moment, as we jump back up to the leader, we'll see he's making his way up to turns 10A and B through the final long back stretch. Looks to lap Sir Dids in 8th for the 2nd time. Absolutely insane drive. This guy is mental, absolutely fast as anything. So we see Dids pull off into the pits for his final stop of the race tonight. Moving down into 3rd place, we've got Kane Payton. 4th place, Piercy, making his way back up through the field, very closely followed by Aussie. right on his tail. He doesn't want to let him past. Not tonight, Pearsey says. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to keep 4th place. That's one better than I did last week. If he can keep that momentum, he'll get a podium next week, that's for sure. But the race isn't over yet, ladies and gentlemen. We're on lap 48 of 55 in the MotorMotion ShawFire V8 Supercar Series. As we look to see Scotty pit in at the end of this lap, he has managed to save a bit of fuel to get around, but he's also let Pearsey and Aussie past. So he'll need to pit here. Colin not far behind. He'll be looking to go around while Scotty is in the pits. That'll bring him up to 6th place. After that mistake in the garage where they didn't put the tyres on the car, he's managed to have a great recovery. Once 3rd, now up into 6th. As we see Super VT coming around now through turns 11 and 12. Will she make it past Scotty in the pits as well? He won't need as much fuel, so it might be a faster stop. She makes her way across the line with a 17.4 on lap 48. Right off there for Jack Daniels Racing in 8th place, having a great drive. Half a tank of fuel, plenty of tyres left for the rest of this race. He'll get around quite comfortably, with the next car behind him being GLR Scotty, who's just made his way out of the pits. Whether he's got enough momentum to catch up to him in the remaining 6 laps. Oh, unfortunately Scotty's run wide. He might end up with a penalty for that. It looks like he's got away with it. Griffo there in 10th place, Sir Dids in 11th for Strike Racing, and Rusty rounding out the field for Mashbud Racing in 12th place. So we jump back to our race leader, who is on lap 50. There's only 5 more laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost at the end of it. We're on lap 51, 5 laps to go. Here we are, putting on an absolute show for his fans with an absolutely spectacular, error-free, alien drive. This guy's going as fast as he can. We can see Colin has now been lapped in 6th place. That means all the cars from 6th place and below have been lapped at least once, as we've seen. I think it was 8th place was lapped twice. So Enda really putting on the pressure, showing that, look, I can put the speed down, I'm very consistent, and I can get it done. Very well done. We move down, we can see Rolls here in 2nd place. Catching up to the back of Griffo and his teammate, Lappy's own teammate, in 6th place. As he makes his way around turns 6 and 7. He wants a good exit on the end of 7 to get a great run onto this back straight. Remember, we've said it's 1.2 kilometres long. This is the fastest part of the course. As we see Rolls absolutely flying up the back straight, using the slipstream from the lap cars as much as he can. They're under blue flags, but unfortunately it looks like they're managing to keep away from him. They're not holding him up yet, so they don't need to move to the side. Definitely don't do it in a corner. It could ruin someone's race. Make sure you're on the straight as Rolls makes his way through turns 10A and B. Coming around now through turns 11 and 12 and across the line. Let's see what sort of lap time he gets. Can he go faster? No, so a 15.2. Very consistent with those times. Mr. Consistent himself. 15s is where it's at for him as he gets right onto the bumper of Griffo. Like we've said, there's not a lot of room to overtake here, so these guys just have to keep pushing and put the onus on themselves to get around cleanly, because if you try to break in a corner, it could come unstuck and cause someone to be crashed off in the middle. That's not good. So these guys are just going to get their race done as we see Griffo now safely pull off to the side. Well done, mate. Great driving as Rolls makes his way up now to corners 6 and 7. Once again, these laps go very quick in these cars. We move down through the field. We've got Kane there comfortably in 3rd place. Moving back down from the field, we've got Pearsey in 4th, making his way up now through turns 2, 3 and 4 and making himself comfortable through the S's there. pushing the car as fast as he can. He wants to keep that 4th place, but Aussie's still saying, I'm not falling off too much, mate. I'm still here. There's a couple of laps to go. We'll see if Aussie manages to claw back any time on Pearsey, or if Pearsey's going to continue to gap away from Aussie. So we move down to 6th. Colin, he's been lapped twice. It's absolutely phenomenal to say it, but what a drive from some of our guys now. 6th place after that mistake with the tyres. He's doing great. Super VT in 7th. Ryoff for Jack Daniels up in 8th. GLR Scotty under blue flags as we see Rolls right on his backside here. We'll wait for the other couple of corners here. Will he pull off to the side? Looks like Rolls has managed to get around because Scotty has backed off the throttle before that corner. Some great driving under blue flags there. Well done, Scotty. We've got Griffo in 10th, Sir Dids for Strike Team Racing in 11th, and Rusty Nuts in 12th. Now coming under blue flags from Pearsey. Pearsey looks to overtake. Oh, Rusty gets all sorts of sideways. So we can see Pearsey now looking to get an overtake on a lapped car as well. In 4th place. We'll move through to that battle here. Getting a little bit sideways on the exit. It hasn't been enough to open the door for Aussie, as we can see Pearsey's definitely running away with it. He's making sure that he opens that gap back to 5th place as much as he can, while he's hard on the hammer coming down the back straight. He wants to catch up to this lap car and get around it. He wants to do everything he can to catch up to Payne with only a couple of laps remaining. We move down to Aussie now. Unfortunately, the lap times just aren't the same as Pearsey, so he's dropping off. He's trying to save a little bit of fuel and make sure those tyres don't wear out. I think he's comfortably going to drive to the end in 5th place, which is a great result for WTCC, with their teammate up in 1st place, Ando, having a spectacular drive now on his final lap. So we've just seen how far ahead Ando is from the rest of the field. We might have almost missed the end of the race as we were looking at the race laps for these cars. Not even that far down the field at all. We're looking at 5th, 6th, and they're 2 laps down already. So a fantastic drive from Ando. Now on his final lap as he makes his way around Road Atlanta for the final time tonight. His team will be cheering. The engineers will be extremely happy. WTCC Racing is going to take out 1st place in round 4 of the MotorMotion ShawFire V8 Supercar Series. Coming down the back straight for the final time, giving it all the horses that he's got, making himself almost up to that 290 Ks. Heavy braking through turns 10A and B. Coming around for the final time, ladies and gentlemen. Ando has done it, making his way around lap 55 for the win. Congratulations, Ando, as we move back to Rolls in 2nd place. Considerable gap that he's managed to put on 2nd and the rest of the field. So Rolls making himself ready for a podium tonight. Well done, Rolls, for West End Mechanical, new team to the MotorMotion Series, as he puts it all on for the fans. Big drift around the final corner. Kane Payton in 3rd place, making his way up the end of the big straight, turning in hard through turns 10A and turns 10B, as I get tongue twisted for the final time. Coming around turns 11 and 12 and across the line. Well done, Kane Payton. Flashes the lights for his fans. We've got Pearsey in 4th for Strike Team Racing. Seems to have been a similar gap between 1, 2, 3 and 4 so far. As we've jumped back, these guys have been at the end of the main straight. Pearsey coming around for the final time with just enough fuel to get himself across the line. There's a 4th place finish. Well done, mate. And Aussie coming across the line in 5th. We've got Colin already finished in 6th, being lapped. Super VT in 7th, Scotty in 8th, Ryoff in 9th, Griffo in 10th, Sir Dids in 11th, and Rusty finishing out our order in 12th place. Unfortunately, we did see an engine failure from N-Spud, so he will round out our field there in 13th. I believe we did have another driver absent, which was HC Lewis. So unfortunately, there's been some technical errors there for some of the cars. But what a fantastic race. Absolutely fantastic race for Ando. He would have to be my driver of the day. Drove away from the rest of the field, absolutely untouchable. Lapped most of the field, sometimes even twice. Mate, the strategies that were on hand today was just absolutely thrilling and exciting to watch. Whether the 3-stopper or the 4-stopper was going to be successful. As we can see, Ando in first place with that 3-stopper has made it work. Rolls has made the 4-stopper work for himself, and Kane Payton in third with a 3-stopper as well. So between those drivers, different strategies and different results. Well done. I'll give a final shout out to our race sponsor, ShawFire, who provide unique solutions to your signage and display needs. From business cards and stickers to factory signage and vehicle wraps, they can make you stand out. So make sure you visit ShawFire or at www.shawfire.com.au, the official and proud sponsors of the MotorMotion E-Series V8 Supercars. That's all from me, folks. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you later tonight in our second stream of the Johnson Lobby. Make sure you stay tuned. We will be going live, I believe, at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Other than that, we will be back once again next week for round 6 at Deep Forest on the 21st of Feb is when the cars go racing, and we will bring you the stream on the following Sunday with the delayed broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure you share and have a great day.